Hey guys, what's up? It's iFlynn here, and welcome to this week's episode of Thoughts with Flynn. In this series, you guys can send me questions, and I'm going to give my opinion on them. If you'd like to have a chance at having your question answered in one of these videos, you can join my Discord and post it in the Ask Flynn Anything channel, leave it as a comment below this video, or tweet it at me on Twitter with the hashtag ThoughtsWithFlynn. If you're new around here, it would also help the channel out a bunch if you left a like and subscribe to stay up to date with all the videos that I post. But with all of that out of the way, let's get a move on with this week's questions. Our first question is from Justin Prunavost from the YouTube comment section, and he asks, I used to play Warframe when it originally came out, but it felt too complicated and there were too many moving parts to understand, but I started playing again a few weeks ago because there is so much YouTube content about the game now that it makes it easier to understand. Do you think the DE needs to do a better job of creating tutorials or explaining the game mechanics to newer players so they don't get discouraged and stop playing immediately? Now, despite the fact that my entire YouTube career was built off of the back of making guides for newer players coming into Warframe, I do agree that there needs to be some form of tutorial system implemented for both beginning players and players looking to take on some of the more difficult content found within the game. Don't get me wrong, in some games it can be extremely satisfying figuring everything out for yourself, but in Warframe, figuring everything out on your own is not an easy task. With the direction that Warframe is going in, there is less and less reason to really min-max your gear, as almost any build nowadays for your Warframe and or weapons is going to get you through the content that you're realistically going to be playing on a daily basis. So theoretically, you could dive into the game understanding at the very least half of it and still enjoy everything that it has to offer. I believe the DE don't just create tutorials for the game because they acknowledge that once someone understands at the most basic level how the game's played, it's going to become progressively easier for them to play for the game and its content. DE don't want to accelerate that process. Companies, whether you want to admit it or not, make things confusing on purpose for a multitude of different reasons. For example, Ubisoft is known for purposefully making their games purchases confusing so the customer gets fed up trying to figure out which edition of the game they should buy, and then they buy the most expensive edition just because they can't be bothered trying to figure it all out. Now, I'm not trying to say that DE are as misleading as that, but you definitely could make the argument that the game leaves you a trail of breadcrumbs to the Platinum Store every now and then, especially whenever you're a newer player. I know that that's a very skeptical take on the matter, however, I do believe that it was intentionally designed that way. If it wasn't, I feel like DE could have made a tutorial for the game and the rest of its mechanics a long time ago. I believe that DE should implement guides into the game so players are not left asking stupid questions like, what is the fastest way to level up my master rank? Then they could focus on catching up, and hopefully that's going to bring the player base up to like a standard of gear, which would allow DE to start making more difficult content. Would you like to see a tutorial system in Warframe? Let me know in the comment section below. Wizard from my Discord asks, do you think platinum is a problem? After I find a fun and optimal way to farm platinum, I just don't bother with new content anymore because it's faster to just farm the plat and then buy it directly. I don't think that platinum is a problem for DE, but I do think that platinum might be a problem for players. One player might find it extremely easy to make platinum from the likes of Trade Chat or Warframe.market, where another player might struggle a lot. Essentially, what you're asking is, do I think it's a problem that we can theoretically skip parts of the game by using platinum to buy the likes of Warframes, weapons, etc.? I've always said to my viewers to never buy anything apart from cosmetics and slots from the Platinum Store, for the simple fact that if you buy something gameplay related, you're pretty much paying to not play the game. This isn't necessarily a new problem, but I do feel like it falls on DE's shoulders to make content that you want to play so they keep you on the game, rather than making content that makes you want to pay to skip it. I think that is very telling that a question like this is even asked. If you would rather fork out the premium currency to obtain something than obtain it through gameplay, does that not kind of communicate to you that there may be a problem with the content that you need to play to get the gear that you want? I'm more likely to make a purchase in a game if I'm enjoying the content that I'm playing. If I'm not enjoying the content, then I'm not going to buy something. At the end of the day, I don't think the system is ever going to change. Most plat purchases probably come from newer unaware players or players who don't play often, and then they log in and get those lucrative platinum discounts. You could make the argument that DE purposefully make content more tedious to deter people from properly playing the game and making them feel forced to obtain platinum to then purchase the Warframe or weapon that they want. Just remember that platinum always has to come from a player's purchase. You might not be the one buying the platinum yourself, but another player is. I would recommend playing the game completely free to play and only purchasing the prime accessories if you have to buy something to support the developers. Otherwise, just play the game completely free to play. You might think that you can't do it, but I promise you that you can, and there's many examples out there of completely free to play players. Let me know what you guys think about using Platinum to skip content in the comment section below. Pat Yarn on my Discord asks, do you think liches need to have goals, or do you think that they're fine the way that they are, in terms of just obtaining power and then ruining your day? An example of a goal for a lich would be they start planning an assault on a relay. You could kill them before this happens or when they plan to attack it. You could intervene and attempt to fight them off, and maybe if you fail that mission or don't do it within an allotted time, it gets put into a damaged state, meaning you're going to have to repair it with a fair amount of resources, just as an example. Do you think that this is unnecessary or something that it might be worth DE putting some energy towards doing? DE definitely need to make, at the very least, the murmur farming section of Cuba Liches more engaging. Multiple people have gone on record saying that they just switch their brain off whenever it comes to farming murmurs, and I've got to agree. Anything could be added in there to make it feel a little bit more engaging. I don't know exactly what they can or should add, but anything to make that one bit of Cuba Liches more engaging would make it a far more enjoyable system. Giving the Cuba Lich a bit more of an agenda that maybe changes up every single Cuba Lich that you get might be kind of cool. Kind of making him like a boss that has stages who can have like a dramatic change in how a mission plays out or something. I think that would be a cool change. Again, I'm not exactly sure what they could add, but they need to add something. On top of that, people also want to see Cuba Liches be integrated into your normal gameplay loop, so people want to be able to farm like XP or something while still progressing their Lich in some way, shape, or form. Let me know what you guys think should be added to Cuba Liches in the comment section below. Ezekiel from my Discord asks, what's your opinion on the nerf of loot boosting frames and then the introduction of mod drop chance boosters? Now, this change was reverted, but the TLDR of the situation was that DE nerfed farming frames such as Necros and Hydroid by making it so that their abilities didn't interact with one another anymore, and in doing so, they made farming resources and mods more time-consuming. After these changes, they released a purchasable mod drop chance booster, which looked really suspect. Honestly, I believe that they did that on purpose. There is no way in the world that they just fought one day unprovoked that they should just change how two abilities interact with one another, despite those abilities going hand in hand for years prior. They used the excuse that they didn't want to force people into using said frames for farming resources, which I mean, sure, I can see that being an argument for the changes on their own, but you have to question the real intention based off the events that transpired around the time. I personally don't think that they were fooling anyone with that excuse. Nerfing the frames that make farming mods and resources more efficient and then releasing a mod drop chance booster, it leaves a sour taste, and honestly, it's a sad sight to see. I can only assume that the developers are being told to trial these types of practices with the game to see really how much money they can milk out of the game before it dies. I know that's a shitty thing to say, but honestly, it's how I feel about it. I don't think that older DE would have ever attempted this type of stunt and then backpedal whenever it backfired. Let me know what you guys think of the XP booster fiasco in the comment section below. Mario from my Discord asks, do you think a star chart and level overhaul can make Rivens mandatory in high level or special content? And what do you think of the idea to use extra Kuva or a new material to reroll the weapon of a Riven within the given type? Example, rerolling a weapon of a Guando Riven rerolls it within the melee category and can then become a War Riven. The question is, do you really want Rivens to be mandatory? I don't think that you do. It would make the game far too frustrating for the majority of the player base. If you ever wanted something like this to happen, you would need to rework how Rivens are ruled. DE are probably never going to rework Riven ruling simply because they want to respect the investment made by players, and also probably because the Riven market makes them a lot of money, as a lot of people go out of their way to get platinum just to get a Riven that they like. As for the idea of using Kuva to reroll the weapon that is on your Riven mod, 100% a cool idea, and I would totally be on board. However, DE won't implement it because that reduces the grind and therefore reduces playtime, and that's not what they want. Let me know what you guys think about Rivens being mandatory in the comment section below. Exodia Bravo from my Discord asks, is forming the Paracesis and the Kuva weapons 5 times to get the full mastery that they have to offer a good method of having weapons that exceed the accumulated maximum level limit? What are the benefits of having a weapon reach level 40? What would be the best reason and possibly more importantly the reward of getting a weapon beyond level 30? Aside from the mastery that you get from getting a weapon to level 40, the only other benefit that you get is the extra flexibility whenever it comes to modding. I don't personally understand what they were thinking by making it so you have to invest 5 foremen, which gives you the extra polarities on top of the extra modding capacity. When you have the extra modding capacity, it makes the extra polarities more or less pointless. It's a very counterintuitive system if you ask me. The only way I see that making total sense is if they were to release mods later on down the line that have massive capacity drain, but I don't see that going over well with the community if they plan to do that, simply because they would have to introduce something that we would have to apply to our favorite weapons to allow us to get it to level 40. So it would essentially be adding an even more grind to properly min-max your weapons. Depending on who you ask, that could be a bad or a good thing. I would like to have an entire weapon or frame using Prime or Umbral mods, but the thing is, in the game's current state, I don't think I'd even bother putting together a build like that simply because it's not worth it. There's no content in the game that requires you to deck out your Warframe that much. I wish that there were more reasons aside mastery rank and flexibility to get our weapons to level 40, but that's just my opinion. Let me know what you guys think about level 40 weapons in the comment section below. SDally96 on Discord asks, what are your opinions on the way clans are these days, and what would you add or take away to change them? Clans in Warframe are cool to begin with, but once you've either joined or constructed everything that there is to construct in your dojo, clans become nothing more than a means to trade, get research blueprints, and play Railjack. One thing that I will say is the amount of resources that it costs to make the likes of decorations in a Moon clan is ridiculous. My clan in particular, we have a few decorations that we've been sitting on for years and they still haven't got anywhere near enough resources to fully craft them. Clans sound cool, but I just wish that there was more engagement between clan members. Warframe's problem right now is that it is a co-op game with little to no reason to co-op, so outside of the things that I just listed, there's no real reason to be in a clan. But with all that being said, that is going to be it for this week's episode. If you enjoyed it, go ahead, hit that like button below. If you disliked it, hit dislike. Subscribe for more Warframe content, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.